listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your number one source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene. Johnson.
The AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's The Biggest Loser After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's The Biggest Loser After Show.
This song is just so fitting for this particular episode. Welcome, everybody. This is season 15, episode 8 of The Biggest Loser. I'm your host, Lauren Mendoza, and joining me in the booth is the beautiful Marisa Serafini. Say hi, Marisa.
What's up, guys?
So before we get into the actual bulk of the episode, I'm going to cut to the part where we come in seeing Ruben. I don't know if you knew this, Marisa, but Ruben got kicked off last week.
He got kicked off twice,
Again,
didn't he?
Yeah. It was very sad. We talked about it all last week, but we got to see how he's doing now pretty soon into the episode. And Ruben started off at 462 pounds and now weighs 350 pounds. Which is amazing, and
So that's what, like 90-something pounds?
No,
I can't do math.
It's over 100.
Oh,
right?
Well, good for Ruben.
Or are you right?
Yeah.
No. Oh, no, wait. No, yeah, it's over 100.
Okay.
So, yeah, sad we can't do math. This is the age of, like, phones and calculators and things like that.
I know,
and
it's sad. Okay.
Math was not my strong subject. So we see Ruben, and he looks amazing, and what he says that he's learned most from his time on the ranch is obviously to make time for himself and to make working out a priority. So we see him going through that all the while he is also busy recording his album and keeping in touch with his manager. And it's a little fitting to this particular episode. I know that it's definitely a different career, but we start off in this episode with a challenge. All the teams gather at a diner, and they see Allie, who has darker hair in this episode, by the way. Let me know what you guys think. I thought she looked really good. I actually really liked the change. So they all meet at the diner, and they are given a pop challenge, pop quiz, basically. And get this, the losing team, Marisa, has to work at the diner for a week.
Oh, well, that's
like full
humbling.
shifts.
That's humbling.
But, I mean, and the point of this challenge is to prove to all of us that, you know, the average American, we all work full-time jobs. Some people work more than 8 hours a day, and that's always our complaint, is making working out a priority and not having the time or not having the energy to work out at the end of the day. So these contestants, they don't have that choice. They have to work, and they have Jillian. Oops, I just gave it away. But they will have a trainer to come back to answer to. So in fun, Marisa, since you didn't get to watch the episode with me, I am going to give you the very quiz that these contestants took.
I didn't study,
on the episode.
but I'll try my best.
Okay. It's tough. It's only 4 questions, and when they said that, I realized, okay, this is going to be a good 4 questions, if that's all that they're giving, you know, for them to work with.
Okay.
So, question number 1. What percentage of full-time employees in the U.S. are either overweight or obese? And I'm going to get, it's multiple choice.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you don't have to guess. So,
Thank goodness.
A, 1/2. Oh, wait. Oh, shoot. I put the same thing twice. Okay. A, 1/2. I'm just going to give you B, 1/4. C, 2/3. Now, A, 1/2, B, 1/4, C, 2/3.
A1/2, 2 C. Well, A1/2, 2/3, and
1/4. What do you think it is?
I want to say it's 2/3.
You are correct.
Yes.
Along with the blue and red team, you guessed correctly. 2/3. That was my guess as well, because I knew it was a lot. Then we go into number 2. According to a Huffington Post article, what is the number one source of food that workers bring into the office? Or what is the source of food workers bring to the office? So A, from home, B, fast food, or C, from the grocery store?
Fast food.
That was an easy one, right?
Yeah.
Kind of an easy one. I was thinking about that, and I was thinking
fast food is convenient.
It's convenient, and I just know, working in an office myself, that so many people leave and go pick up food. We have a lot of restaurants around where we work, and they just grab food from a restaurant, fast food, or even a sit-down restaurant, and they bring it back to their desk.
Yeah, well, I got to call out us here at AfterBuzz. We do the exact same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad. I knew it wasn't going to be from the grocery store. I mean, because I would think...
That takes time, too, because you have to physically drive to the store, pick out what you want, and then check it out and ring it up, and then go back to the...
and go back to work. Well, I figured it would either be... I mean, bringing it from home, I think, is a healthy thing to do, but I don't know many people that go to the grocery store and then come back to work. So I think of bringing something from home as essentially bringing something that was from the grocery store. That's kind of why fast food, I think, was an easy answer. Mm-hmm. All right, number 3. Which occupation has the highest obesity rate? I thought this was a tough one. Okay. A, transportation workers, B, business owners, or C, clerical workers?
Oh, it's either A or C, because A, you're sitting a lot in transportation, or C, clerical, you're sitting at a desk.
Right.
So I'll go with a 50-50 chance. It's A.
You're correct.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, you are very good. Winning. Well, and for me, I don't know if this is everyone's thinking, but I was kind of... I mean, yeah, you're right. Everybody's going between A or C, but I was also thinking business owners. A lot of business owners, when you're running your own business, you're also your own boss. You can leave for an hour in the middle of the day.
Yeah, you're moving around
a lot of the times to make time for your workout. Some business owners are very wealthy. They can have trainers. You know what I mean? I just thought...
Exactly.
Yeah. Transportation and clerical workers was a given, but I was kind of surprised that it was transportation over clerical. I'd kind of be interested to know why.
I'm not surprised, because no matter what kind of transportation, in a vehicle, in a bus, in a train, even on planes, you're sitting. It's something else is moving for you. You're not moving yourself. So I don't know. I think that was...
Well, you were right. Yes. So your thinking was correct. Okay, number 4, the very last one. Let's see if you can get 100% on this quiz.
Okay.
All right. What percentage of administrative assistants have reported gaining weight at their jobs? A, 48%, B, 69%, or C, 78%?
Well,
it's kind of hard.
Yeah. I'll go with the 68%.
69, you mean?
Or
69. 48?
69%.
Look at you. 100%.
Yes.
Yes, that was amazing. I was going to guess 78 on that. I was going high.
Hooray.
But luckily it's 69.
I got
it. Good job, Marisa.
Sorry, I had to have fun with that.
I love it. Good job. Well, after all of that, Marisa, the white team really could have used you in this particular challenge because they lost.
Well, you know what? I love multiple choice because the answer's right in front of you, so it's just really a theory of deduction.
See, I don't know if I love multiple choice because I'm indecisive. So I will look at all the answers and think, well, it could be this one because of that. And I'll kind of create all these reasons, and for that reason, I just overthink things far too much, and taking a time test would never work for me. Regardless, the white team loses, and I could completely agree with what Marie says when they lose. She says, can't the white team just get a freaking break? And that is so true. I think we've been feeling this all throughout the entire competition. The white team, it's like they just have the worst luck. They cannot catch a break. They have the lowest amount of team members at this point. They're only down to 3. They've barely won any challenges. They may have won 1 challenge so far out of all of them. It's just sad. And I feel, as great as Jillian is, and I know I've said this in previous episodes, that for some reason, this always happens to her. I feel like her team dies down quicker than all the other teams. So
do you think it's because she Well, all the trainers, they push hard, but she pushes so hard right up front that kind of just doesn't rub people the right way immediately. So that might be another reason. Like, mentally, they can't get with it as fast as she can, so they might just, like, break off.
Well, and earlier. I think that is definitely a theory. I know last season we addressed that in kind of the different coaching styles that there are, you know. Jillian can be very aggressive. I mean, I think she's an amazing trainer. I think she may be the most educated trainer in terms of this particular profession and knowing what she's talking about. I think she is the smartest. But there are a lot of people that don't react well to somebody yelling in their face.
Yeah.
And she can do that. I will say, however, I felt that Jillian so far in the season has been fairly tame in doing that. I don't think she has been her most aggressive. And so I feel a lot of this season has just kind of been the luck of the draw with the team that she has. They haven't won challenges, and that's really worked against them. So,
and that's kind of hard with last season. It was Jillian's team that was
that won.
The winner, who was the white girl.
Yeah.
What was her name? Danny. She kept winning every single week. So, and especially from constantly winning to not winning, that might be hard.
But I believe it was last season, though, where Jillian's team dwindled really fast, and then she had two players that just stayed in the game. Yeah. And, you know, and then there was Danny in the end. So I just don't know what it is. I feel like Dolvett and Bob, they can keep these bigger teams for a lot longer, and Jillian seems to lose them a lot quicker. And I know that in previous seasons too, she's gone to the end and not even had contestants still in the game. That wasn't the case last season, but I know that it's happened before. So I don't know what it is, but right when that happened, right after Marie reacted in that way, I was thinking of Jillian and how pissed she was going to be when she finds this out. She's never happy after a challenge, especially when her team continues to lose them. But she just doesn't react well to these things. So sure enough, the blue team and the red team head back to the gym, and they are met by the trainers. All of the trainers wondering, where the hell is the white team? And sure enough, they tell Jillian the challenge, what happened. The losing team has to work at a diner full shifts for an entire week, and Jillian just can't get over it. And it's so great because Dolvett just starts laughing and then looks at her and obviously stops right away because she doesn't think it's funny. But I think anybody can react that way. It just feels like it's the luck of the draw for her. It's so unfortunate. So because of that, the white team works full days at this diner and then has to come back, not just to any trainer, but to Jillian of all people. Yeah, it's a little bit great. So they come back,
but working in a restaurant, you can burn a lot of calories.
Exactly.
I mean, I used to work in a restaurant. It was a lot of walking, pacing back and forth. You can burn a lot of calories.
Thank God they didn't have them sitting at a desk, because I think if they had them doing desk jobs where they may have been answering phones, reception work, they wouldn't stand a chance in this weigh-in, obviously. But I think that was, I don't know, I think there's a number of reasons why they had them do this particular job, because I think after a day on these jobs, I used to work in retail. So I would be 8 hours on my feet. You're not sitting down. When do you ever go into a store and see like somebody working in the store sitting down? They're not. They're moving around, putting clothes away, talking to other customers. Even if they're standing behind the register, you are constantly standing and on your feet. I actually really enjoyed that. I miss that, like miss having that active element to my job. But I think the point to doing this is that those are also the jobs where your body's tired at the end of the day, especially when you're serving other people, you're carrying plates. Mm-hmm. You probably have to deal with pissy customers that are rude and you just don't even want to deal with it. You smell like food. You're also around that diner food.
Yeah.
You know, you could probably have free lunch every day there. I mean, that's a temptation. And even Marie points it out as they're working throughout their day. She's like, I feel like this is also a temptation challenge for an entire week, because you're serving bacon, you're serving desserts. They were looking at cheesecakes, packaging them.
Oh, goodness.
You know, I mean, yeah, they're around this food. They're smelling it, watching other people eat it. And they haven't been around this for about 8-9 weeks at this point. So it was definitely difficult. Then, like I said, you come back and your body's tired. You've been on your feet hurt. You want to go to bed or you just want to relax like most of us do after a long day at work. And Jillian is kicking their butts in the gym. And Jillian makes a good point, and she continues to make this. I think any of us that have watched her continuously or maybe read her books or listened to her podcast, which I am a fan of all of the above, she always says, when you don't have the time, it's the intensity of your workout that counts the most. So, of course, she makes them work out just extra hard because they have less time. They weren't working out for 6 hours like the other contestants were from the blue and red team. So they're up against a lot of pressure. And it's just interesting. I had my doubts about them because to me, she was obviously frustrated. She kind of seemed like she didn't really want to deal with Jillian, and Toomey made a good point. She talked about having her tumultuous past, which we all know the story too. She definitely had a rough upbringing, and she says that having a sense of control is really what brings her comfort nowadays. And I could not agree with her more. It was actually really nice for me to hear somebody else say that. I'm not going to say I had a tumultuous past, but for some reason, that for me, having like control in your schedule is like key. I am not good, especially when it comes to working out, on flexibility.
And it also helps if you're self-motivating yourself. It helps when you have that sense of control and you can dictate how much you do, and no one else is really controlling you. And if you're doing it yourself, you can like really regulate that, I guess.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So I know for myself personally, it's like 1 year or maybe for 2 years, I had this one job and I had the same schedule. No joke. I would get up at 4:45, exercise 5 to 6, be to work. I would have to take the train into work by 7, be to work by 9. And I would get home and I wouldn't even sit down. I would make my dinner. And while I made my dinner, I packed my lunch. I was in bed by 8:30 so that I could get 7 hours of sleep to get up by 4:45 the next day. And I did that as a routine constantly every day. I was in the best shape of my life and I loved it. And then things happened with my job where I didn't have the same job. My days were a little bit more flexible. Then I got a different job and my time schedule was totally turned around, and I've never been able to get on the same schedule since, and I hate it. Like, I hate not having, I can definitely take control, and I think that's obviously on me now, but when you throw a change in my schedule, I am like Toomey in this sense. I don't like it.
Everything off.
It makes me frustrated. I'm upset. I don't like it. So I get where she's coming from. I imagine there's a lot of other people that are like that. You're used to your day-to-day, so changing your schedule to accommodate a workout is just not easy. I mean, people that have kids, that changes your entire schedule and makes you that much more tired. It's hard. I think that is the point of this entire episode. After we see the white team come back and they do their workout, we then cut to the red team. And we have this really great moment with Dalvette. I've said it hundreds of times that I think Dalvette is an amazing motivational speaker. I think more so than any of the other trainers on The Biggest Loser. And Dalvette just, I don't know, he's talking to his team while they're on the bike. And he makes a really great point because with the white team out and working every day, it has these contestants at home realizing, they're going through what we will soon have to go through when we leave this ranch. And Tanya's really thinking about that and saying, the real journey starts after we leave, which is so true. They remind them of that every season, but I don't think people really grasp that concept, and there's a lot of contestants, a lot of Biggest Loser contestants that we see later on that have gained their way back. And it's really unfortunate. They can't adjust.
It's understandable, too, because once you're on a show, you have trainers constantly behind your back. You have a whole audience, a whole nationwide audience that are watching you and supporting you. So you have so many people behind you and rooting you on.
And they're motivating you.
And then once you leave the show, it's really yourself and your close peers that are helping you and supporting you out. So you have that less amount of people rooting for you. And so I can understand why people would fall out of that when they have less amount of motivation.
They have less amount of motivation and they just are thrown back into that same environment where they had that same schedule, that same routine, where they already didn't incorporate exercise. So they have to adapt, and they have to. And Dalvet makes a good point of this at this point. He says to them, you know, your demons will never change, but it's how you deal with those demons that will define you. And that, obviously, anything that comes out of Dalvet's mouth is pretty perfect. And this just being one of them, I thought he was right on the money. I mean, I think when you battle an addiction to food or you battle laziness or whatever, you may always be tempted by those same habits, especially when all of a sudden you go back to your house. Your kids and your family are doing the same routine as they did when you left, maybe eating the same foods that you were eating before The Biggest Loser. And you have to find a way to focus on yourself, give time to yourself, make a change in your schedule so that you're able to work out, and make a change in your diet. And he said if you embrace all those other temptations around you, it's not going to work for you. You're not going to succeed. You have to embrace the change. Mm-hmm. So it was a really great moment. And then, of course, it turns into a sappy moment. Tanya, I love her. I've always loved her from day one. I'm a little frustrated with the numbers that she pulls. I don't really know what's happening. But she's so great. And she just gives Dalvet the praise that he deserves and he needs. And we don't see this all that often. And we see the contestants talk to the camera and say why they love their trainer or what their trainer has done for them, how motivating they are. But the red team really just kind of gives Dalvet this verbal praise. Tanya starts off and just saying, how lucky she feels to have him as a trainer. And it was so cute. She goes, "You will always be my lifelong crush," which I love that she said that. That's so adorable. Cute. But she also said, "You will also be my lifelong leader." And I think Dalvet, just even saying it, I was like, I got teary-eyed. And then, it moves on to Rachel and to Jennifer, and they're all just saying, we talk about it all the time, how we would never want to work out with any other trainer except for you. They just feel so lucky to have had him in their life and to have him as part of this journey. And then you see Dalvet just sitting there and a tear just falls down his cheek.
That's sweet.
It was very sweet. It was very cute and, very deserving. I think that Dalvet needs to hear that. And, that's why Dalvet does this job. And he says it. And I also think it's obvious. It's obvious he loves to motivate these people. He loves to make a change in their life. And, he says this is basically the reason why he does this job. And so it was great to give him that moment. Then we cut to the blue team. Now, we saw last week on the weigh-in, and pretty consistently, Hap does not pull. Hap is a big guy, okay? And for his size, he does not pull big numbers. Even not for his size. I shouldn't even say that. He just does not pull big numbers in general. I think last week he lost like 2 pounds. And he's big. I think the biggest on their team. So I thought it was interesting because Bob addresses this and pretty much is questioning what Hap has been eating. He's basically saying, this doesn't make sense, so I'm curious to know what Hap has been eating, what his diet has been, what his nutrition has been. And I think he's feeling like Hap clearly has maybe been ignoring his advice and not eating, I don't want to say the wrong foods. I thought while I was watching this that maybe we're going to have some big reveal where Hap has been like sneaking ice cream into his room or I don't even know if they have that kind of stuff accessible to them, but maybe like coming down in the middle of the night and eating a bunch of turkey or something. I don't know. I was thinking, or just sneaking meals when he shouldn't be. Overeating, basically. That's what I was thinking. That didn't happen. But I thought it was interesting that Bob was obviously questioning Hap's diet and really saying, this is obviously the reason that this isn't working. Because if Hap was listening to me, he would be pulling bigger numbers. So he has this talk with Hap and basically is telling him, you need to write down every little thing that you eat. You need to take my advice. And I think what's interesting, and maybe because we're only seeing an hour this season of each episode, we didn't get into the details of what they're eating, but there's one moment where Hap says, okay, what should I eat? And Bob says to him, you need to have your protein and then eat as much vegetables as possible, 4 cups. And I think what's interesting and what these trainers know, and so many of us do not know, and it takes a lot of effort to learn, is the combination of like macro and micronutrients and how those contribute to your weight loss. You know, you can always eat healthy foods, but sometimes if you're not pairing your protein with your complex carb or your healthy fats or whatever, when you're not making that right combination, it doesn't always, if you think about your body as a machine, it's not always working as best as it can if you give it the right combination. So I think that's what's interesting, and I'm guessing maybe that's what Hap was not doing. There's doggies. Can you hear that?
Yes.
I love that.
The dogs agree too.
The dogs are great. They get you to walk, right?
Yeah,
I love the doggies. So that's what I'm thinking with Hap. Because then there's Bobby, on the other hand, who's pulling insane numbers, like double-digit numbers every week, and clearly putting in less, I guess, effort in his workouts. And I feel like we come to see why pretty soon after. After the white team finishes one day from their day at the diner working, they decide to build a little care package for the other contestants at home. And they get some of the leftovers from the end of the day. It looked like steak, desserts. They had a ton of cookies because they know Hap's weakness. Hap, I'm right there with you. Cookies are my weakness. And they just create this care package and leave it out there so that while the white team is in the gym late at night working out, the blue and the red team, or I think it's the blue team at this point, walks in after having worked out and is seeing all this food laid out for them, basically giving them a temptation. And it was interesting because Matt was doing the math in his head. He's thinking, I burned this many calories, so maybe I could eat a little bit of this and I'll still lose weight. And I thought it was interesting that he was considering giving into that temptation and eating some of the calories, like doing the math so that he might be able to do it. Hap looked totally tempted, and I really thought he was going to cave, and he might have, and we never know because they did leave cookies on his bed. But Bobby, I was really impressed with, and I thought that maybe this is why Bobby pulls those big numbers, is because he is very disciplined with his nutrition. Bobby decides to take all the food and, with Chelsea's help, throws it in the trash can. And I think this is what's really funny, and I know people like this where they're like, well, you could throw that food away. You could throw a cookie in the trash can and it will not stop somebody from eating it. It's the truth, true. Right?
No, that is true.
They're like, if it's on top and there's nothing on it, I might just dig in there and eat it.
Wasn't there a moment last season, I believe, where they had the whole table of all these sweets and stuff there to tempt them, and one of the contestants poured orange juice or something all over it so they wouldn't eat it.
Yes. So similar to that,
another way to resist temptation.
Oh, I'm getting there, Marissa. Similar to that, when Bobby and Chelsea throw it in there, and they, knowing that, like Hap even says, that's not going to stop me. If you can throw it in there, it's not going to stop me. They decide to then pour soap on top.
All right, good.
Yeah. I think they were going to, thinking about spitting on it. But instead they went with the soap, which I was happy about that. So that was kind of an interesting little thing. But then, like I said, the white team didn't stop leaving food in the kitchen. They instead also put cookies on the bed pillows of Hap and Matt because they know their weakness. And we will never know if they ate them or not. But I think we're led to assume that they did not. I don't know. After this, we have this really cute moment. Delvette, again, always bringing in these sweet little surprises. Delvette and Jennifer, his contestant, go and they Skype with Jennifer's family. And Delvette, because what he says, and obviously we all agree, he does his job to help other people. He wants to make a difference in their life. He decides to take on Jennifer's young daughter, Taylor. And this, Marissa, is really cute because when we first saw Jennifer come to the ranch, she talked about the guilt that she carried as a mother because of her habits. Her youngest daughter I'm not really sure how old she is, but maybe like 11 or so. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure. She's young. She's about 70 pounds overweight. And so Delvette decides, I had this great season with Lindsay last season as the child ambassador. I can do this for children too. And out of the kindness of his heart, he's doing this for Jennifer's daughter.
Oh, that's nice.
It was so cute. And so he says on Skype, would you be ready for me to be your trainer? And she gets all excited. And Delvette gives some tips, which are not only good tips for Taylor, they're good tips for us as well. So his very simple tips, and this you have time to do. If you have time to sit on the couch, you have time to do this. His tips are, while you're watching your favorite TV shows, as we all have, while you're watching this podcast, well, actually, we don't even have commercials in this podcast, but while you're watching, you can stand up and sit down on the couch, up and down, and do it multiple times. For the sake of doing intervals, do it during your commercial break, Delvette suggests. However, this led me to thinking, don't we all have TiVo for the most part?
Yes.
I mean, nowadays,
pretty much.
Who is watching commercials? So,
what if it's like live events or something that you don't want to miss in DVR?
Well, okay, yes, but you can still DVR that stuff. And I think a lot of people do, just so they can fast forward. So I find a little flaw in this particular tip because I don't think a lot of people will do it because they don't want to watch the commercials. So I don't know. I think you could stand up and sit down while you're watching the actual program. So I think I'm going to have to try that. I'm going to give Delvette's tips a whirl and let you guys know. I'll report back next week and let you know how that did. Hopefully I don't forget right when I go home. But and his second tip, which I think this is a great one and a little challenging if you're not used to eating this way, but he says for dinner for 3 weeks, every night, you're going to have a lean protein and all the vegetables and colors of vegetables that you could possibly think of.
Oh,
so
that's a lot.
Well, I mean, as many colors of vegetables as you can add to your plate. So there's no carbs in that. No rice, no pasta. That's hard.
That'd be hard for me.
That's hard for me. I'm Italian.
I love pasta.
I love pasta. I think I ate pasta last night.
I ate pasta today.
Yeah. So it's a challenge, but I think if you can change and he's just asking her to change her dinner at this point, not even her breakfast and lunch. So if you can make that first small step, you may start to see a difference. I think you also sleep a little bit better when you don't eat carbs before dinner or before bed. But either way, those are Delvette's tips for Taylor. I'm going to give them a try. And like I said, I'm going to report back. Marisa, I may need you to remind me.
Yeah, that's actually interesting. I'll remind you because I want to find out the results.
Okay. You should try it with me.
Okay. I'll try.
Right. I'm not going to do it.
Hey, I run.
You run, yes. But could you do that dinner?
No.
Okay.
No.
I'm going to try it. I will be the guinea pig and I will report back. And I encourage any of you guys that are tuning in on iTunes or tuning in on YouTube to join this challenge with me. Let me know if you don't fast forward through your commercials, if you are standing up, sitting down, or if you incorporate an exercise. I think that's a good tip. Whether you're doing push-ups or sit-ups or whatever the exercise is of your choice during commercials, I want to know how that works out for you, or if you're able to change this one meal. Let me know. So comment on iTunes, on YouTube. And while you're on iTunes, don't forget to subscribe to us, rate us, and subscribe to all the other amazing podcasts that we have for AfterBuzz TV. Now we get to the weigh-in. So we start off with the blue team, and Hap is the first up. So we're all kind of wondering, is he going to pull 2? Is he going to pull an amazing number? And because Hap probably didn't eat those cookies and listen to Bob, he gets up there and he loses 11 pounds. And he makes a point in saying that this is the first week where he's actually pulled a double digit. And that's a big thing to say. Yeah, because all the other bigger contestants have pulled double digits a number of times, and Hap should have been, because he exercises with such great intensity and Bob knows it. So clearly it was his nutrition and his diet that wasn't helping him. So that's a good lesson for all of us. You might be eating healthy, but if you're not eating correctly, it could benefit you more if you eat in a certain way. Pay attention to that nutrition stuff.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so then we get Chelsea up there, and she loses 4 pounds. Not what she had hoped. She wanted to lose 5, but either way, Chelsea is consistently pulling good numbers. I mean, she's already 185, so she's probably the smallest contestant on the ranch. I think she is. So to see her pull a 9 or a 10 or, a number like that, it's not likely, I don't think, at this point. So 4 is not bad for her. That's to lose 4 pounds in a week. That's pretty great. Matt gets up there at 277, and I was surprised Matt pulled 9. I didn't think he would pull that much, but I thought that was a pretty good number for him. Bobby gets up there, and Bobby, who we know, it's kind of this like crazy, weird contestant that pulls amazing numbers. It doesn't even make sense how good his numbers are. And I think it was the week that could be expected and was expected at some point from Bob and even from Bobby. He gets up there and he only loses 3 pounds. So naturally everyone's shocked because I think this is his worst week. Which gives the blue team, they lose 27 pounds at 2.53%. So the red team gets up. And we have David get up there. David's always consistent, always amazing. He's kind of one of my favorites too. He weighs in at 299, previously 299, weighs in at 294. So he only loses about 5 pounds. And I think starting off the weigh-in for your team at that number, knowing he's the heaviest and has the potential to pull the biggest number and biggest percentage, I think he was a little worried. We have Tanya who gets up there and she loses 4 pounds. And I, as much as I love Tanya, feel like I'm waiting for her to get kicked off. I think when the red team goes down at one point, she's going to be the first to go. She never pulls big numbers. Ever. I mean, she's not in the 100, so I feel like she can still pull bigger numbers than 4, and she usually doesn't. So I'm bummed for her because I know she's trying, but I feel like there's something similar to Hap that's just not working for her that they're not figuring out, and I don't know. I don't know if Dalvet's looking into it. Jennifer gets up there at 207, and Jennifer, I feel like, is somebody we don't get to see enough of, and she loses 7 pounds. So she's right on the 200 mark. And she even says, I'm not in the 100s, but I don't care. I'm so happy because I know I'm going to get there. And she's only 1 pound away from being in the 100s. So she's ecstatic, and 7's a good number, I think, for her. Rachel gets up there. Rachel is the swimmer, the athlete. I think she's somebody that I see in this competition that will be successful, I imagine, after this competition is over, whether she's in the final 4 or not. I think she seems someone that's driven and just needed that kickstart that she's going to go really far even after this whole season. She gets up at 178, weighs in at 171, and loses 7 pounds. And they all congratulate her because Rachel, in the 9 weeks that they have been there, has lost a full 89 pounds already, which is pretty great.
That's great, especially for her. She has a lower weight.
Yeah, now she has a lower weight. She's really gotten down. And for a female, too, to be pulling bigger numbers, I think, before some of the men. I know David's, already lost 100. He's kind of blown them out of the water. I think it's a big success on her part. So we then go in. Oh, and this, I should also mention, it was a very cute moment. You guys all probably saw it, but David makes a point of thanking her because, like I said, when he gets up there on the scale and he pulls a 5, he's automatically worried for the rest of his team because he feels like he didn't pull his weight. So he just talks about how much he cares about Rachel and thanks her for pulling a bigger number because it saved their team. So at this point, the red team is safe, and the blue team is still at risk of elimination because we have the white team to weigh in. So the white team comes up, and they find out they have to lose more than 16 pounds, which doesn't sound like a lot, but there's only 3 of them, and they've been working at a diner all week long and haven't had these 6-hour 8-hour, I don't even know, 12-hour workouts, whatever it is, that the rest of the contestants have had. So there's a risk. I mean, I wasn't sure they were going to pull it off, the white team. So Jay gets up there weighing 207, and he weighs in at 201, and he pulls 6 pounds, which is already a help to his team, meaning that Marie and Toomey would need to lose, well, another person would need to lose 6 as well, because they need to lose more than 16. So Marie gets up there. She weighs in at 198, or previously 198, weighs in at 192, losing another 6 pounds, which is great. So then leaving Toomey only needing to lose about 5 pounds, and Toomey pulls big numbers. So, I'm feeling a little bit confident, but also kind of, you never know what's going to happen. Bobby always pulls big numbers too, and he pulled a 3. And Toomey seemed extra frustrated this week because she didn't have as much control over her schedule. But nonetheless, Toomey gets up there, and she loses 9 pounds. That's great. Yeah.
That's amazing.
It is amazing. And then
especially
just
with
like
3 people, you have to, that's like almost 5
and she's been working on a diner. She's been working at a diner all week long. So if any of us that are working at a diner all week long and then working out late at night, I mean, she's proving that it's possible to still lose 9 pounds in a week if you can control your food and bite the bullet and sacrifice the time even when you're tired and you don't want to work out and do it. These are the results that you're going to see. And I think at some point, if you continue to do that, it's only going to be easier as you go along. So she burst into tears because she was so happy. And Allie, similar to Rachel, points out that in her time so far at the ranch, Toomey has lost 85 pounds, which is amazing and such a big success for her. So the white team actually beats the blue team this week, having worked at a diner the entire week. It's pretty impressive and only goes to prove that we can all lose weight while working if we just make the sacrifice as much as we don't want to do it. So unfortunately, with the blue team being up for elimination, there's a red line. Bobby goes home because he loses the least amount of weight. And what's sad about this is that Bobby pulls double digits all the time. And I think it was a matter of time before his body just kind of took a break from that, plateaued a little bit, and he just had a low week. Mm-hmm. And I think that was this week, and that made him go home. Yeah.
That's unfortunate, especially when you've been doing so good, and then you have one off week, and then you leave after that.
And like I said, I don't even think it was an off week because it's not like he didn't put in the effort. I just think you can work out at a heavy intensity and maintain that intensity for weeks on end, but at some point, you're not going to pull the big number that you were pulling at. Your body gets a little bit used to it. I don't know. I mean, there's even Jillian and Bob and Delvette always talk about how weird it is, and at some point your body plateaus a little bit and you just kind of have to work out the kinks and push past that. And that was his week this week, and unfortunately he went home because of it. So it was sad, but you know what, I have all the faith that Bobby's going to be successful, and we will see him on next week's episode. And you know what, Marissa?
Yes,
that wraps us up for tonight. So thank you guys for watching. If you
have
want
any predictions?
Predictions.
And now,
never good at these
your
predictions.
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
My prediction. This is very difficult. I'm not good at predictions because I'm always wrong. So I'm gonna say that we're gonna see David in the finale. That's one prediction that I can say. Who will be joining him is very difficult. I would like to see Rachel join him. I would like to even see Chelsea join him. And who would be my fourth? That's hard. I don't know. I'm going to say Toomey stands a chance because she pulls big numbers. So my big prediction, very risky, David, Rachel, Toomey, and Chelsea. So thank you guys for watching. You can follow me on Twitter at LO_VALLES. And Marissa?
You can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Serafini TV.
All right, we'll see you guys next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.